The best way to make your dreams come true is to wake up. That's a quote by Muhammad Ali, and my goal is to help promote that awakening. You are not an idiot. The financial industry over, I don't know, certainly the last 15 years, but maybe actually in the entire existence, has made a lot of money convincing pretty much everyone that they're morons and therefore should pay them to make all the decisions for them. And while there are some very intelligent people in the financial industry, and it is good to rely on expertise and people have gone to school for certain things, it's not good to basically abdicate your free will and your decision making. Now, that said, investing is hard. Part of the reason why the world has evolved in this way is because investing's hard and many people made poor decisions and lost money. It's easy to lose money. However, still, there's no major decision in life where it makes sense to just simply not think. And so my goal is to help you think, hopefully in a positive way, so that you can look out for yourself. Now, step one is begin with the end in mind. If you don't know where you're going, how do you know to get there? It's pretty hard. So begin with the end in mind. A common phrase or analogy in the industry is that investing is a marathon, not a sprint. Fine, but some people might be sprinting. If they've got a certain time frame, it might be a sprint. And that's all to say that the race is largely dependent on the individual. To kind of take it one step further to an analogy that for me makes a little more sense is cars in a race. So, there's different types of races. You could have a drag race. You can have Formula One. You can have the Dakar Rally. And depending on your life, your situation, what you're looking to achieve, it's really important to know what kind of race you're in. So if you're in a drag race, you don't even need a steering wheel probably. You probably don't even need brakes because you got a parachute. So you just slam on the gas and you go in a straight line. If you're in Formula One, you need a great engine and you need really good brakes and you need a steering wheel. And then if you're in the Dakar Rally, which is 3,000 to 5,000 miles, I believe, can take 10 to 15 days. It's over mountains, through deserts. You have to deal with sandstorms and dehydration because you're in a desert. You need a very different kind of car. And so again, the first step is knowing what race you're in, because then you can decide what vehicle you should have. So as far as vehicles go, I will continuously point this particular vehicle out, the S&P 500, index funds, passive investing, because so many people own it and don't fully understand what it is. 55% of the money that's in U.S. stocks is supposedly now in passive investing or cap-weighted portfolios. Now, again, it's just one vehicle of many, and it can be the right vehicle depending on the race you're in. So it's important to understand what that vehicle does. Now, the S&P 500 or a cap-weighted index, the way it works, here is how it works that nobody has ever told you. Nobody's ever told me this, at least. So it's a very simple example. Start out with Tesla. Let's say you buy a Tesla and you love it. And then you tweet that you love your Tesla. And then Elon Musk loves your tweet. And so he posts it, and all of a sudden Tesla stock starts flying. And then someone else sees his tweet and says, I can't wait for robots. And then he reposts that, and it goes more and more. The thing is, if you go back to the beginning, a stock is related to a company. They're related. At some point in time, Tesla's stock price reflected probably reflected the value of the company, right? So, this is where it's priced fairly or efficiently. When you get a share of, when you buy a share of that stock, it's equivalent, it has an equivalent value. Now, in this example, you bought your Tesla. Nothing changed whatsoever because you had already bought your Tesla. So it didn't change the value of the company. And you loved your car. So you tweeted it. And then Musk said, hey, everybody loves their Tesla. And next thing you know, Tesla's up 20%. Nothing changed fundamentally. You had already bought your car. Nothing changed at all. But now all of a sudden, Tesla is 20% higher. Now, right now, Tesla is roughly a 2.5% holding in the S&P 500. So let's say if it goes up 20%, now, assuming everything else stands still, now it's, let's say, a 3% holding in the S&P. Because it's a 3% holding, anybody that invests in the S&P 500 or a cap-weighted index is going to invest 20% more, not because Tesla's worth more, but because you liked your Tesla and you tweeted it. And then Musk came in over the top and tweeted it. And then, again, someone followed up with, I can't wait for robots to run the world. And Musk tweeted that. Next thing you know, it's up another 20%. Now, instead of 3%, you're investing 3.6% roughly in Tesla. And again, nothing changed. Tesla's worth the same amount. Here is what Tesla is worth. And now, because it's worth more, because it's more expensive, because people are paying up for the stock, people are investing more and more and more in Tesla because it's overvalued. That's the way cap weighting works, is you invest more and more the more overvalued a company gets. You invest less and less the more undervalued a company gets. That is the way it works. Now, it's an oversimplification, but that is the way it works. It's the exact opposite of buy low, sell high. So in a way, it makes no sense. On the other hand, it's neither good nor bad. The S&P 500 cap-weighted indexing is cheap. That's awesome, right? It's low fee, it's low cost. Those fees and costs are guaranteed. And so if those aren't coming out of your pocket, awesome. That's a plus. And then it's a momentum vehicle. Again, the more a stock goes up, the bigger the percentage it gets, the more money that goes in it, the more it drives it. And so as long as the most overvalued companies keep going up, a cap-weighted index will do really well. And luckily, over the last, let's say, 15 years, basically, cap-weighted indexes or momentum has had the best run in history. Last year, it hit the 99.8th percentile. So it has been an excellent investment or an excellent vehicle over this period because momentum was hot. But momentum isn't always hot. Sometimes it's not. And so for this reason, you could compare a cap-weighted index, an S&P 500, to let's say, a drag racer. So if you're in a sprint and you have a sense that the market's going to go up, fine. Like this S&P 500 cap-weighted indexes could be perfect because there's no driver, there's nobody managing it, there's no brakes, no one's selling something because it becomes obscenely overvalued. In fact, they invest more. So there's no one in the steering, there's no one sitting in the driver's seat. There's no steering wheel. There's no brakes. And so that is perfect on a drag race or on a sprint. And luckily over the last 15 years, it's basically been one long sprint. There's been some dips. There's been some tiny curves, but luckily we went through some bumps and we were right back on the track. But what if there's a mountain or a cliff? What if there's a huge curve? Then you're going to need a Formula One car, or maybe you need some sort of dune buggy if you're in a race that's going through a desert and around mountains and whatever else. So again, the key to this is just simply begin with the end in mind. Know where you want to go. There's a big difference between investing for 30 years and investing for 2 years. So know where you want to go, and then know what race you're in, and then select your vehicles accordingly. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. You are not an idiot.